In addition to posting his manifesto online, suspect Chris Dorner also reached out to me directly. He mailed a parcel to my office that arrived on the 1st of the month. My assistant opened it. Inside, he found this hand-labeled DVD accompanied by a yellow Post-it note reading in part, quote, "I never lied," which apparently is in reference to his 2009 dismissal from the LAPD. Now, the DVD shows testimony by a man who says he was kicked by an LAPD officer. According to Dorner, it confirms the story that Dorner told the LAPD, the story that he says got him kicked off the force. Today, by the way, is the 8th anniversary of his hiring. Also in the package, as I mentioned, a coin wrapped in duct tape. Now, the tape bared a handwritten inscription saying, quote, "Thanks, but no thanks, Will Braden," his former boss. On the top of the duct tape, there's also an abbreviation. Now, at first today, we thought it might be the initials IMOA, which commonly is an abbreviation for Imagine a More Open America. But if you look at it closer, it now appears to be the number 1 with a space, then the letter M period, O period, A period. One MOA could stand for 1 minute of angle or 1 minute of arc, which is a marksmanship term. Now, here's the coin again. You can see the bullet holes, 3 to the center, another shot nicked off the top. As I mentioned, I was made aware of this parcel today, as was the editorial staff at AC360 and CNN management, and upon learning of its existence, CNN alerted Chief Braden and law enforcement. Bill Braden, as you know, is the former New York police commissioner, as well as LA's retired chief of police. He joins me now. So, Chief Braden, I want to show you some of the images that apparently were sent to me. I didn't know about this until really just a few hours ago, and I know you're seeing these images for the first time. The first is a coin, the kind of coin that I would imagine either you give out, or it's the kind of thing soldiers often give out, or on police forces they have a kind of a ceremonial coin with some bullet holes clearly shot through, both in the center and off to the side. What do you make of this? Do you have any idea how this man might have gotten this coin?
Chances are he would have received it from me. The photograph that's been displayed very widely today of me shaking his hand in front of a pair of flags probably would have been the custom I have of when somebody was activated into the military heading overseas. I'd bring them up to the office, present them with one of these coins as a token of respect and good luck, and also have their family come up to meet our military liaison officer, who would then basically work with the family during the period of time when the officer was gone. So looking at this coin, that is a what is called a challenge coin. It's my personal coin that I give out to people, and the coin's usually about 1.5 to 2 inches in width, so looks like he probably shot that through with like a .22.
It's the kind of thing, I think it's a military tradition. Whenever I'm with a military unit, oftentimes they'll coin me, or even I think President Obama has some, other high officials have them. Do you remember anything about this person?
I actually do not, and it's interesting because he's a very distinctive looking individual, just the sheer size of him. But in the course of a year in the LAPD, I would probably handle anywhere from 200 to 400 disciplinary cases, major cases. And in a 10,000 person department, and over the space of 7 years, I don't recall him as distinctive as he looks, and I don't recall the specific set of circumstances for which I fired him or discharged him. I've now reviewed all of those documents, but I have no recollection of it in the sense of even after reading them.
In the parcel that was sent to me, and again, this arrived, I guess, on February 1st, but I'm just learning about it, and CNN management, frankly, is just learning about it today. There was duct tape that the coin was wrapped in, and on the duct tape, it says, it's kind of hard to see there, it says, "Thanks, but no thanks, Will Braden." And then up on the top, it says, IMOA, which we think is an abbreviation for Imagine a More Open America. Do you have any connection to, I mean, does that make any sense to you?
It doesn't make any sense to me. I received a call from your security department just about an hour ago, actually, informing me that they had received this package, I believe, last Friday. As you've indicated, you're just becoming aware of it today, as is senior management, I guess, at CNN. What you've shown me is, being quite frank with you, very disturbing, I think, to anybody that would look at it. And I understand it was accompanied by some form of letter or written correspondence. So one of the issues, I spoke to Chief Beck a short while ago to inform him of this, and my understanding is your corporate security has forwarded it to the FBI, and the FBI will be sharing it with the LAPD as they move their investigation forward.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't see it because, as you can imagine, I get a lot of correspondence and a lot of kind of nutty correspondence, and usually just kind of forward it.
As did I when I was chief of police.
So usually it doesn't even go to me. I just sort of forward it on to the security folks. He lists you in this manifesto. He clearly has some sort of a beef with you. Does any of that resonate? Does it make any sense to you?
Well, in terms of, without speaking specifically to the manifesto and what's in it, although there's public documents, and I understand the media has been very good about not identifying other people who are listed in the document. In my case, I was the chief of police that signed off on his discharge from the LAPD. So in terms of his grievances, I could understand his grievance directed toward me in my capacity as chief of police. And but a lot of people get discharged, and a lot of police officers get discharged, and none of them resort to the actions that this young man has taken.
Well, Mr. Brennan, I appreciate you joining us, Chief Bratton. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
The LAPD says Dorner is 6 feet tall, about 270 pounds, and he may be driving a blue Nissan Titan pickup truck. Police say Dorner was fired from the force 5 years ago and now may be seeking revenge. And according to a lengthy manifesto that's online, it apparently is at least revenge, or he says he is trying to clear his name.
Of course he knows what he's doing. We trained him. He was also a member of the armed forces. It is extremely worrisome and scary, especially to the police officers involved. You know, the Riverside officers were cowardly ambushed. They had no opportunity to fight back, no pre-warning.
I want to bring in now CNN.com writer Mallory Simon. She has been going through this letter for us. I got it just before air. You've had a chance to go through it a little bit more than we have. Let's go through the first one where he talks about being a rapper. He says, I am not an aspiring rapper. I'm not a gang member. I'm not a dope dealer. I don't have multiple babies' mamas. I am an American by choice. I am a son. I am a brother. I am a military service member. I am a man who has lost complete faith in the system when the system betrayed, slandered, and libeled me. I've lived a good life, and though not a religious man, I always stuck to my own personal code of ethics, ethos, and always stuck to my shoreline and true north. And he addresses this letter, and we should say, to America, and the subject is last resort.
He's really trying to send a message of why he's going about doing this, sort of laying out the problems that he sees, allegations that he has against the Los Angeles Police Department, that there is corruption, that he is angry about why he was fired, and trying to say he is not a regular type of guy who's going to go out and murder people, that he feels. In this letter, he's saying that he's been brought to this point. He is following his moral compass. He's doing what he believes is right here, that this is the only way he thinks he can get people to understand what's going on.
What he's doing it the wrong way now. But he says, I have exhausted all available means at obtaining my name back. I have attempted all legal court efforts within appeals at the superior courts and California appellate courts. This is my last resort. The LAPD has suppressed the truth, and it has now led to deadly consequences. The LAPD's actions have cost me my law enforcement career that began on 2/7/05 and ended on 1/12/09. They cost me my naval career, which started on 4/2 and ends on 2/13.
2008, Christopher Jordan Dorner, just 3 years on the job as a Los Angeles cop, is fired. He allegedly made false statements about a training officer. Dorner leaves the force bitter. In a lengthy letter apparently written by Dorner and provided to CNN Today by an LAPD source, he allegedly threatened to use his Navy training to harm police officers involved in his case and their families. Quoting here, I will bring unconventional and asymmetrical warfare to those in LAPD uniform, whether on or off duty. Now to Sunday night. An Irvine couple is shot to death in the parking deck of their upscale apartment complex. The victims here, Monica Kwan and her fiance. Kwan's father, Randy, was a retired LAPD cop who worked with Dorner. Wednesday night, police name Christopher Jordan Dorner the chief suspect in the Sunday night murders. Police warn the public he is armed and dangerous. Dorner is a Navy reservist who is known to be a skilled marksman. Thursday, around 1:30 in the morning Pacific time, Dorner is spotted in Corona. Dorner gets out of his truck and starts firing. One officer was grazed, the other not hurt. Dorner flees. Then, a short time later, another shooting involving cops. This time in Riverside, where police say 2 officers on routine patrol are shot after being ambushed at an intersection. One officer is dead, another critically wounded. Authorities are linking both Thursday shootings to Dorner.
It is an all-out manhunt for a man that they believe is extremely dangerous, who they believe is now involved in 3 separate shooting incidents. If you look just over my right shoulder, you can see how serious they are. Police in the background, there with their fingers on their trigger guards, guns pointed in the air. This is just one of a couple areas that have been sealed off here in downtown Riverside. Let me tell you what happened in Riverside at about 1:30 this morning. Police told us that 2 officers on routine patrol, Riverside police officers, were ambushed by the suspect Dorner. Now, separate from that, earlier this evening in Corona, California, or earlier last evening, I should say, an LAPD officer on patrol, apparently leaving the freeway, this is according to the LAPD, was shot, grazed in the head. If you look at the manifesto from Dorner, we can call this a hit list of LAPD officers who he was upset with. Basically, it is believed that he is now trying to exact a measure of revenge against all the people who somehow angered him. And in reading the manifesto, he alluded to being fired, and he said, terminating me for telling the truth about a Caucasian officer kicking a mentally ill person is disgusting, a mentally ill man. A lot of other clues in that manifesto as well. He was talking about some of his military background, and he said that you are aware that I was always the top shot and the highest score, an expert in rifle qualifications in every unit. And then he goes on to say, I will utilize every bit of small arms training, demolition, ordnance, and survival training. So he has a Navy, a military background, does Dorner. Bone-chilling at the end, he said that in this manifesto that he would exact revenge on the family members of these officers he's upset with, and he just said, I have the strength and the benefits of being unpredictable. So right now, an all-out manhunt for Dorner here in a
Anderson Cooper 360, weeknights at 8 and 10 on CNN.
You were mentioned in this manifesto, and I want to read some of what Dorner had to say about you. He said, quote, thanks for introducing me to outdoor sports like fishing, hunting, mudding, and also respect for the land and resources. You even introduced me to PBR, a beer that when you're a poor college student is completely acceptable to get buzzed off of. I'm sorry I'll never get to go on that moose and bear hunt with you. I love you, bro. What goes through your mind when you hear that?
My initial reaction is that it's not entirely accurate. I don't like to think of myself as a beer-guzzling, politically incorrect person, but, you know, in spite of that, when I first read it, I have to confess that I was somewhat flattered and that I obviously made an effect on this person's life, and it seems that I'm a person whom he respects, but, you know, going deeper and putting it in the context of this manifesto, which I have not read, but I've heard, you know, snippets of it, it is shocking to say the least. I mean, you know, who wants to be lumped in to this kind of a fiasco, frankly? It really is, it's, again, beyond shocking.
Well, I know he called you out of the blue about 4 years ago just to catch up, which was around the time, I guess, that he was let go, fired from the LAPD. What did he seem like? How did he seem then?
Seemed to be the same person I knew in college. You know, he did mention to me when we were speaking at that point in time, again about 4 years ago, he mentioned to me that he had some type of grievance that was ongoing with the Los Angeles Police Department. I don't have any recollection of details, and quite frankly, I don't even remember that we spoke about it at great length, but he did mention to me that there was some